Well, it looks like we're at a fork in the road. And we're going to take a few minutes here to take some questions from the audience. We're going to have 3 folks walking around with microphones to allow you to make your comments. We'll have some people taking notes so that you don't feel like whatever idea or something you might put forth would go into the ether. We'll try to capture it. I'd also encourage you at this point that there are those pieces of paper where you can put your ideas on a piece of paper and give it to one of these folks actually as they're going around if you prefer that way. I also want you to consider logging in to ifyouweremayor.com and sharing your idea there. The ideas actually have a little bit of life. You can go and look at what's been going on for the past month or so, and it's been very interesting to see how some of those things have been going. So if you raise your hand, Hamilton, Natalie, and Ellie will be wandering around here with a microphone, and so we have a comment in the corner, and then we have one here. Plus, if you have a question you want to be addressed by any of the speakers, please feel free.
Thank you. Stuart Weinberg. I wear a number of different hats in the community. One, though, a vision for the next mayor. Could we get to the point where every permit that's ever issued for new construction includes something with renewable energy? That would go a long way to what we need to do. Another point, can I ask everyone just to look around the room? Just take a minute and look. Maybe when we have our next vision meeting, it might be a little bit more diverse, really representing Charleston. Thank you.
Whitney, I'd like to put in a plug for a visitor we're going to have in Charleston in a couple of weeks. You all know the name Andre Diwani, who is a world-class architect. I think it was mentioned by Winslow. He's coming here late March, early April to do some planning in Charleston. The Charleston Library Society that you all know is run by Ann Cleveland, and the Charleston Princeton Club are sponsoring a talk of Andre's at the Charleston Library Society on Monday, March 9th. We'd love to have you all come. He's going to present a talk on the new urbanism, a plan for the 21st century. He's planned probably 40 or 50 communities around the world, and I think it'd be a real treat for everybody. Thanks.
Here we are.
Hi, I'm Richard Beck. I hope that as we begin to plan for our community that we plan some way of de-emphasizing the use of the automobile to get to our area's beaches. The gridlock there is almost impossible to deal with now, and we've just begun.
Thank you.
Seeing as I'm here, I might as well speak. But my name is Gary Collins. I'm a landscape architect as well as my people with the Low Country Local First. I think listening to some of this, we've done it before. A lot of that was done with people who were here. In all due regards to Mr. Diwani and other people, there's a lot of people here who can understand this place, can help make this place a better place for the future. And so from a local advocate, I would love for the local businesses to be part of this, the local planners to be part of this, the local citizens to be a stronger component of where this city goes in the future, because we have the best understanding of where it is today.
Y'all are very quiet at that end.
Okay, down there. After me, it's you, whoever you are. Mary Beth Berry. I live on James Island, and I will not even vote in this election because I live in the town. I'm part of the mom. No, part of the kid. Amy, your analogy has escaped me. I guess I'm part of the kid. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for doing this. This is amazing. And so much of what I've heard here today has just encouraged me tremendously. I hear proactive planning. That has to happen. You have to know where you want to go in order to figure out how to get there. And I'm listening and seeing lots of visionary descriptions of where we want to be. Hold on to those visions. You're going to have, it's an uphill battle. You are going to have to break old habits, like cars, speed, all of that, and the resistance to alternative transportation. I loved hearing Amy's comments, and I'm so glad that she was included here, but I did not hear James Island mentioned by anyone else. We are part of you. We are all connected. And whatever happens to the whole area, you have got to include James Island. If there's a place that needs knowledge, perhaps experimentation, redesign for the coastal resiliency issues, oh my gosh, it's James Island. We're 12 feet above sea level. We also desperately need this assistance with alternative transportation, breaking the old habits. Yeah, we have those habits too. We don't want to give up our cars, but we have to. We have to, or we will never get down Folly Road, excuse me, to get to the beach. Can we envision some kind of light rail version of some of those wonderful things that I saw? Can we see that on Folly Road? Can we? Hello?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Steve?
All right, Whitney, thank you, everybody, for putting on this incredible forum. I'm Mike Seekings. I sit on Charleston City Council, and I can tell you it is impressive to see all of you out here today. And I also want to thank all the speakers for bringing up the fork in the road. I spent 4 years in college at the Robert Frost Library, so you've taken me back to my roots. It seems to me that the sort of baseline theme today is planning and transportation. And that's the key to everything. And I will tell you the first thing that should be done in the city of Charleston, if that's the case, in the future, is to merge the Department of Transportation and the Department of Planning. I mean, to me, it is you start and you go forward from there. So many great ideas out there, so many things to do. Everything that was said in this room today is doable with your help. It's all doable. You have to have the will to do it. And merging all those ideas into one place is the way to go. So congratulations to all of you for being here. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Can we get one? How are we on time, Katie? We have 30. Go ahead.
Thank you. My name's Tony Fogel. I'm born and raised here in Charleston, South Carolina, of course, the best city in America and best city I could ever think about living in. I've worked for the city of Charleston for 17 years as a police officer under Chief Reuben Greenberg, the late Chief Reuben Greenberg. Seen a lot of changes go on in the city. I reside in the St. Andrews Public Service District area, which is kind of like the James Island PSD. I work with the fire department to be sure everybody in this room, as well as the other 5 entities involved, in the fabulous 5 as they call us, after 9 brothers of mine passed away in an unfortunate fire due to lack of inspections, due to lack of leadership, due to lack of anybody following which road path we need to be on. The people across the street from me, they live in the city of Charleston. They have a green trash can. I have a blue trash can. Before that fire, whenever somebody called 911, they said, "What color is your trash can?" So we can send a proper fire department. Now, anybody who lives in the Avondale area, that whole area, a large amount of it is still in the St. Andrews Public Service District. And thank goodness that now we're on the fabulous 5 response team, which means all the fire departments in the area, they get called the closest truck to respond. Whereas years ago, the station at Avondale and 17 would never respond, that St. Andrews would respond from Highway 7 and 61. And I'm just glad that at some point in time, unfortunately it took so long for it to happen, that people had a vision to recognize that we need to move forward and plan something so that everybody gets to have another birthday at some point in their lives, which they live for. You know, Mayor Riley has done a phenomenal job with the city. I enjoyed working with him for many, many years. After Hugo, I got to tell you, I don't believe that many people would have brought the city back to life the way that he did, as well as the other leaders in Charleston County. They did a phenomenal job because it was a total disarray. And within 48 hours, I got to tell you, there was no looting going on. Probably the majority was because of Reuben Greenberg's ways. It was just going to be that was intolerable. And you know what he would say about things, so I'm just going to leave that as it would be. But thank you all, and I hope that whoever the next mayor is, that he will have a vision, and city council will work with him, as well as the other small public service districts in the area, as well as the city of North Charleston, that we could get this rail system in process and we could continue to move forward and not be, as Greenberg would say, it's not the low country, it's the slow country. He could never figure that out, why things are so behind date here. But thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Fogel. We have one here, and there was a hand over by the curtains. You want...
Hi, I'm John Thompson. I just want to say that we've heard some fantastic ideas today that are really important for Charleston's future. But we do have an election coming up, and I think the critical thing for us all is to remember that we need to identify that candidate who best represents support for the kind of ideas we've heard here today. And we need to hang together as a block and make sure that our votes go to that person, he or she. So I just want to say that as important as all this is, it's not really going to have any carry forward momentum if we can't stay together and continue to have these kind of gatherings and try to really get behind that right person. So thank you very much.
Just what I had hoped would happen today has happened. A lot of problems have been identified, but very little in the way of solutions. And one thing I would love to hear, if any of the candidates for mayor have any way, any ideas on how to correct the problems and how they would be accountable. There's got to be teeth and accountability. All politicians would say we have to have a review of our entitlement program, but where are the teeth? That's my comment. I just hope somebody will talk about how you solve any of the problems.
Here.
Hi, I'm Joan Bryan, and I live in West Ashley, right off of 61, so we'll be talking. But I just wanted to follow up with what the gentleman said. You've done a wonderful job today. Will you be sending these expressions to the candidates for their response, and will you then get it back into the community? And will you also offer some candidate forums in the different communities so that the people can come out and actually see the person that they're voting for? Thank you very much.
I think all of those are great ideas. We've been gathering the ideas at ifyouweremayor.com, so they're available to all the candidates. We do anticipate that we'll be compiling those along the way. There's also planned another forum toward closer to the actual election. I think if you would like forums in your communities, please let us know, and we can see if those can be organized, because I see Charlie Smith's head shaking, and I'm sure that there are others, that it would be good to actually have community input into just like this in the same process. Somebody's asked the question kind of what our geographic distribution is here, and I'd like to see a show of hands. One, West Ashley. That's a pretty good number. How about James Island? Great. Downtown? How about the Neck area? There you go. What did I miss? Johns Island. Daniel Island. Oh, God. Daniel Island. There we are. Johns Island. There's a few from Johns Island. Folly Beach. Excellent. Okay, everyone who might be outside of the city proper, but just curious. There you go. Very good. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, we still got time for questions, so I didn't mean to cut anything off. We've got somebody here.
Mine's not really a question. I'm Councilmember Gregory. If you'd like to see my vision for Charleston, go to gregformayor.com. However, I'd like to react to one of the statements in terms of making sure that whoever you vote for in this upcoming election, I hope you do it based upon the fruit of that person's labor, not based upon promises, but based upon a person who has clearly made a difference in many of the areas that we have discussed already. Thank you.
Hi. Hi, I'm Tish Lynn. I work for the Center for Heirs Property Preservation. And I just think that before any decisions are made, it's really about our values and really establishing what they are, truthfully, and what we have the will to promote and protect according to those values. Do we really value diversity over the almighty dollar? What do we really want this beautiful place to look like in the future? And so I just think the values are terribly important to establish clearly and fight for.
I'm Gil Baldwin, and I think the elephant in the room today is nothing was said about the health impact of cruise ship pollution and emissions. And I certainly hope our next mayors and his or her administration will try to put some teeth into the regulations concerning cruise ships. And remember what the great New York Yankees catcher Yogi Berra once said, "When you see a fork in the road, take it."
Yes.
Thank you for hosting today, and thanks for the great ideas. Going along with the theme of transitioning away from dependence on oil and embracing newer paradigms of public transportation and how we power our cars and our way of life, I think it's proper to point out that it's an excellent opportunity to also exhibit leadership in transitioning how we do energy more generally. There are a multitude of opportunities for the city and other units of local government to exhibit this leadership. Energy, electricity is one of the highest costs for local units of government, and there are many ways to reduce those costs through implementing energy efficiency measures, doing things like public transit, maybe putting solar panels up to power some of the electric vehicles, embracing economic development, community economic development, which solves some of those equity issues and community economic development issues, encouraging local jobs and solar power energy efficiency, and also getting involved in kind of more bigger scale issues, flexing the weight of Charleston on a regional level on opportunities to fight offshore drilling, for example, which has now been proposed off of our coast, directly off of our coast for the year 2021, and promoting cleaner alternatives. So I just wanted to point out that opportunity for leadership.
Thank you. We have.
Thank you very much. I want to congratulate Dana and Katie for putting on this forum. What a marvelous forum. Dana spoke Thursday at a luncheon meeting I introduced her before the Charleston Motor Carriers Association. You wouldn't think that would be a really Dana-friendly group. But I tell you what, we ran well over. We had to add additional chairs and tables, Dana, as you recall. I should introduce myself. My name is Dean Riggle. Served several terms on City Council, past Mayor Pro Tem, and I represent the great district, District 10, west of the beautiful Ashley River. I think that what I'd like to see today is a lot of these issues placed in a platform. I'd also like to see meetings possibly geographic. I was the one to ask a question about distribution. of the attendees today. And as I suspected, and as it typically is, the downtown constituents have a great deal of interest and desire and let us know what they see. But I think that what it's going to take is really a tremendous amount of courage and leadership, not only by the new mayor, but I have to tell you folks, the current city council. I think sometimes we take a pass on issues. I think it's easier on current city council to say, and I'm not running for election, I'm too old, I'm too poor, and I'm too ugly. But I think sometimes on current city council, it's too easy to push the pause button. And I think instead of finding the hard answers and working hard to find the right solutions. So Dana, Kate, again, thank you. Congratulations for a great, great turnout today.
And a hand over here. So there's at that first table and then here. Oh. 1 second.
Hi, my name is Carmen Nash, and I'm a resident of West Ashley. And I just want to thank everybody who worked so hard to put this. I get very excited when I hear all the conversation going on. And what I want to talk to you today about is what I kind of want to say is I feel like the Angel Oak of West Ashley that's going on right now. It has to do with the firefighter memorial and Turkey's Towing that was planning on coming in right next to it. Now, my neighborhood is right behind there, and we have been galvanized, we have been working really hard, and we have really come together over this. And I think the reason why is because we all thought and felt exactly the same way about it. So the day before the Planning Commission, my son and I went around with a petition in our neighborhood, and there are about 40 houses in our little neighborhood, and we got all 40 signatures from all of our houses. And it wasn't because one of us had a better idea than the other one, it was because we all agreed. We all had the same thought. And what we said was, you know what, this is a residential street, this Pebble Road is a residential street, we want it to remain residential. We don't want heavy equipment going up and down it. And also, we don't want towing next to a firefighter memorial. So we're working currently with the city and the county to develop something different and visionary and what we feel like is a better solution for everyone involved. And I guess what I'd like to say to all of you here today is if you have any interest in this project, if you have any expertise in designing parks, or if you're a civil servant and you know a lot about fire stations or police stations, or that you get involved, please. The more ideas we have, the more people that work together, the better solution it's going to be for everyone involved. And it's one of those situations where we have city, check, county, check. It's like this confluence. It's like a Bermuda Triangle where it could really be a flagship project that addresses everything that everybody's been talking about today. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes. My name is Jenny Deeren, and I have filed and intend to be a candidate for mayor. And I, unlike most of the people here, do not think we are at a crossroads, fork in the road. You know, as I think about the enormous growth that's coming at us as a result of our popularity, how we handle it has a lot to do with what we're going to look like in 10 or 20 or 30 years from now. You know, do we protect what we locals love, or do we embrace the growth? Do we tackle the mobility problems by building roads, or do we tackle them at the source of the problem by really having the commitment to public transit and bikes and walking? Do we do the paddle park? I'm for that, I'm a paddle boarder on James Island. Or do we do a gathering place like it's reviewed and considered by the city of Charleston today? You know, all of these, you know, do we focus on the, you know, enormous opportunities West Ashley, or do we continue to build the core city? To me, it isn't which path do we take, it's both. And in my view, the next mayor needs to be a mayor who really brings us together to come up with solutions that are innovative, that are looking forward, that are looking backward, the things that we've already done, to come up with a way that we can all get together and have a common vision of where we're all going so that we can move together toward these solutions that I really believe are going to end up taking us to the destination I think all of us want, which is the place that is this amazing tapestry of the values that we love about our city. So I'm very optimistic about that, and I don't see it as being choosing one or the other, but I do see it as being coming together and really respecting what it is all of us want and coming up with something that we can all work together, which doesn't mean we have to come up with just blah, plain vanilla, nothing. It doesn't mean that. But it does mean that there is no one way to get to where I think we all want to go. And I look forward to being more a part of all of these conversations. And thank you very much for inviting us to be here.
Thank you. We have one here. I think she's been very patient. And then you had one.
Speaking of all the former plans that are on the shelf, somewhere on the shelf is an effort from a few years back where a large number of people in this community spent 2 full years looking at sustainability. And it was an excellent job with a lot of compromise, had an incredible amount of involvement, and very, very little came out of it. I would like to ask the candidates to pull that off the shelf and to put something on their website about what they think about the recommendations that Citizens Committee, and that is what it was. It was a Citizens Committee with a huge amount of input, 2 full years and counting.
I think you're talking about the green plan, aren't you?
Hi, my name is Greg Smythe, and I live on James Island with my husband, Georgia Rana. And he retired, 2 years ago? And I don't think he anticipated that part of what he would be doing is driving Miss Daisy. But he drives me a lot. And I find my car sits outside without a lot to do. And I'm kind of glad I have a car. But I've hardly put many miles on it since I've been getting rides. And we were talking about light rail the other day at home and some of the transportation opportunities in town and what were the barriers to taking public transportation, like, you know, where do you wait and is there a place to sit, and the Charleston sidewalks that you have to deal with if you live downtown to get to one of those stops. And we thought, well, why not turn the whole thing on its head and just have a fleet of smart cars, electric little cars that are 2-seaters, because most people just go places one at a time, or maybe the 4-seater electric car, and it would get you 2 stops. And I don't know, we just started thinking there's so many times you can take a solution and then turn it, like jujitsu it, and make it the opposite, and then maybe there's something there. And I've seen so much creativity here, and I would like to get involved somehow. So, thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Paul Tinkler, and I live West Ashley, and I'm running for mayor. And I came here today to listen, really not to talk. However, I do want to say that I want to thank Dana, Whitney, John Winthrop, and everybody who put this program on, because this is phenomenal. Citizen involvement is the key to running a community. One example, we have the Sergeant Jasper plan, and I've been very impressed with the level of citizen involvement, and I have a sneaking suspicion as a result of that, that plan is going to change. I just have a sneaking suspicion. And when I was on city council, from 1998 to 2007, served with my friend Henry Fishburne, what I noticed is that the downtown residents tended to be more organized, more vocal. And Dean, you know that when the West Ashley people get organized and vocal, we can get things done, West Ashley. And so I want to encourage everybody who's here, who lives West Ashley, to get involved. Charlie Smith and I have had a discussion about that. I think that is the key to running this city. Thank you.
Henry, did you want to say something? Since he's there, since the mic is there.
Well, I'd be honest with you, I came here to listen, and that's what I thought we were going to do, so I didn't have a speech planned. But this is really an amazing civic exercise. And somebody mentioned earlier that in the past we've kind of had top-down planning. What I see here is just the opposite. People that really understand what they're doing and what they're talking about and are really passionate about the different areas that they're interested in, and they want to get involved. I think that's terrific, and I think that speaks well for all of what you've done here, and it speaks well for the future, and it speaks well, frankly, for whoever the next mayor is. They're going to have a lot of intelligent, energized people to work with them to help this community be a better place. So I think this is really terrific. Everybody here has had a part in it, and I'm very energized by it, and thank you very much.
Thank you. We have, how are we on time? Okay.
Hi, everyone. I'm Graham, and I'm a West Ashley resident. I live behind Mama's Used Cars. I'm not running for mayor. But I just want to talk a little bit about, and I've been beating anyone who would listen about this idea, but there are no signs on the peninsula that say West Ashley. They all uselessly say Savannah. And there's nothing that says there's 20 more miles of Charleston on the other side of this bridge, which I think is really important for West Ashley businesses and people like the Glass Onion or Swig and Swine or all these things that are coming up. And no one knows about it who's on the peninsula. And even more distressingly, the signs in West Ashley say to Charleston that way, as though you were not in Charleston now. And I've been beating anyone who would listen about this idea, so I just wanted to throw it out there, but I think it's an important part of the West Ashley identity crisis, that tourists and other people looking at signs, you don't have to be in a car when you're looking at the sign, just don't know.
Thank you. I think we have a question here, and then another one over here, and then we'll ask one more. We got two more hands here, and that, I think we'll call it a day, but go ahead. Sorry.
Hi, I'm Catherine Zomer, and I am a James Island resident. And I just wanted to say thank you so much, Whitney, for putting together ifyouweremayor.com. I think it's an incredibly valuable tool, but like all tools, if we don't use it and come together as a community to really use it, it's not going to have the traction that it needs. So this conversation is the beginning of a conversation that needs to continue, and it can continue online as well as in our neighborhoods, but it really needs to continue. And that means that everyone here needs to commit to posting and being actively on that website.
Hear, hear.
Yay. And I think that we should really leave here and encourage a number of people to get onto that website, because I think that that's going to be where this conversation continues. So thank you so much.
Sure, thank you. We're gonna let this fellow over here, and then we'll get you, John.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Cyrus Buffum, and I am here wearing two hats. The first of which is the executive director and waterkeeper for a local organization called Charleston Waterkeeper. And the second is as a downtown resident. I've lived in Charleston going on my 13th year here, came for school, and I'm a proud resident of the West Side neighborhood over on Noonan Street, for those of you familiar with that part of town. I want to touch on a couple of points regarding three themes that I saw from today. The first of which was community resilience, the second of which was connectivity, and the third is this notion of it's been done before. I make this charge to both the city as essentially a public development entity and also to private developers for their own agendas and their own personal intents. that there are three very particular opportunities that I would encourage us all collectively to look at, and in particularly the next leadership of this fine city. And those three opportunities are three long-forgotten creeks in downtown Charleston. The first of which is Cummings Creek, which, by a show of hands, anyone know where Cummings Creek is? Okay, a couple. Cummings Creek is the creek that feeds Colonial Lake. Right. Cummings Creek goes beneath Canal Street, and it was culverted long ago. And it still is a tidal system. You walk on Berry Street and you look down into the storm drains and you can actually see tidal flow going to and from Colonial Lake. A very fascinating creek there. The second creek is on the west side of town, my neighborhood, Gadsden's Creek. Gadsden's Creek is just south of Brittlebank Park, just north of Bristol Marina and that neighborhood, or excuse me, that marina area. And the third is Newmarket Creek. With each of these creeks, we have an opportunity to address those three themes that have been noted today. Community resiliency in the way of green infrastructure, connectivity in the way of getting people on and connected to our waterways, something that we are lacking in a city that is surrounded by water. If you do not own a boat, if you do not have a vehicle, and you live downtown or within walking distance of the water, it is either illegal or not safe for you to access Charleston's waterways. Something that we can address if we look at these three creeks through that lens of resiliency and connectivity. And finally, regarding it's been done before, I have heard, and I don't know whether this is accurate or not, but the Mayor Riley, remembers swimming in Gadsden's Creek back when the city called it a swimming hole, and when the city took initiative to actually make it a point of engagement for us as residents of the land to connect with and engage with our natural environment. And of course, with all of that, all of those three things addressed, I would say that it creates a more engaged and aware populace by interacting with nature in a walled city, frankly. And also it ensures that we have economic stability and vitality. You look at waterfront dining, you look at recreation associated with tidal creeks that are opened up to the public once again, and you're truly decreasing cost of infrastructure, and you're also increasing the economic potential of ecotourism. So thank you very much for your time.
Excellent idea. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm John Tecklenburg, and I'm also a candidate for mayor, and I was told when I was invited that we weren't going to be allowed to speak, but since we've all spoken, I thought I would at least introduce myself, and thank you. Thank you, Whitney and Dana, for putting this on. This is great. I'm a little different in that I'm not an elected official and never run for public office before in my life. I've been a business leader and community-minded person, and I really believe our best days are yet to come, as I believe everyone in this room does. And as Mr. Hasty said, a lot of the plans have already been worked on, and the next mayor is going to really be about executing some of those plans. But there are plenty of these ideas that further challenges that we all need to work together and solve and put into place in the future. And I thank you for inviting me, and I plan to be the mayor with the biggest ears to listen to you. Thank you.
I think we have time for one more question, and there it is.
All right, my name is Art Moore. I live in one of the suburban areas, and one of the things I noticed was that there was a very scant mention of the outlying areas, and really to solve any of these issues that were raised, you need to have regional solutions, not just city solutions. Secondly, I want to mention a politically sensitive issue, but there are a number of politicians here, and I hope that you listen to this. All of the issues that were raised really have two sides to them. There's the business issue, the money-making side of it, and there's also the residential issue. You politicians, who are you going to accept donations from? Who are you going to listen to? The bigger donors or the people who are voting, who are out in the neighborhoods, probably making much smaller contributions? Unfortunately, answering that question is not just a Charleston problem, but it's a national problem. But you personally have to decide how to respond to that issue. And then lastly, I want to thank the organizers. I think all the issues that were raised are really heady issues, And the challenge to you is how do you implement solutions? How do you get from here to the solution? And I think that's really going to be the tough part that you have to deal with. Thank you.
And then there's Dana.
I want this will. Yes. Can you hear me? I'd like to thank John again, John Winthrop, and if we could give him a round of applause. And also Whitney, because we sort of saw her great website and were inspired by it. And I will say that these videos will be they will be available on the web and on the website, accessible on the website. And we would love to have the candidates weigh in to the last point about specific ideas of implementation on all of these issues, because it really does come down, as Winslow said, to the making of sausage, and we've got to know the nuts and bolts, and in order to accomplish what we need to accomplish. I'd also mention, I know there are a number of other fora coming up, but I ran into Jamie Haley, and Jamie, with Low Country Local First, has scheduled one in the back, and so I would just encourage you to go to Low Country Local First website and find out where and when that is, and take these ideas forum to forum and website to website. And I think if we do that, they can become real and they can become realized. So thank you.
So we have heard a lot today. Charleston is growing rapidly, and we must recognize we actually have a joint responsibility for making smart, informed decisions that can sustain and enhance the livability of our region. We can create economic opportunities for all, and we can connect our neighborhoods into the rich fabric that is all of Charleston if we have enough faith in the future to invest in it. The conversation does not need to end here. If your mayor offers for us to continue to share our ideas for solutions, improvements, and opportunities in Charleston, and it can help establish the framework for the future. And I invite you all to be part of, and not just the conversation, but the outcomes. And thank you so much for coming and for showing support for this idea, and I'm sure there will be others. There are volunteers at the door if you would like to contribute to the cost of your lunch, and please feel free to mingle until 2 o'clock. Thank you.